Hello, all. Welcome to the Big Recon on Sports weekly New York Mets wrap-up show on Sunday, April the 7th, 2019. And the baseball season started on the 28th of March with a bang for the 2019 New York Mets. So we're going to come to you every Sunday night. We're going to talk about the week that was in New York Mets baseball. Now, I know this one was a little bit more than a week, but with only 3 games in last Sunday, I figure we get a little bit more of a sample size before we really dove into this team. So the 2019 Mets are showing us they're going to be in it for the long haul, in my opinion. Now, yes, they were 11-1 last year, so I'm not going to get too crazy, but what I've seen so far, I have really, really enjoyed. Let's start with opening day. One of the best pitching matchups maybe in baseball history, as Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom went at it in Washington on the 28th of March. Now, the Mets made a bunch of big moves in the offseason. One of the biggest was acquiring former Yankee Robinson Cano from Seattle. And Cano paid dividends in Game 1. A home run off of Scherzer to left center field in the first inning in his first at-bat as a New York Met. He also drove in the other run that day, too, as the Mets blanked the Nationals on opening day in D.C. 2-0. Scherzer and deGrom were as good as advertised. Both going late into the game, both with double-digit strikeout games. Phenomenal opener. Game 2 was Noah Syndergaard and Steven Strasburg. That one went a little different as the Met bats had to bail Syndergaard out a little bit, and the Met bullpen for that matter. Mets also won Game 2 of the season in D.C. before losing on a walk-off home run by Trey Turner in Game 3. Although Zach Wheeler and Patrick Corbin were very good in Game 3, the Nationals just had a little bit more that day. So then the Mets went to Miami to play the Marlins for 3, and we saw Jason Vargas and Steven Matz make their season debuts. While neither one was terrible, neither one really stuck out. The thing that stuck out the first 2 nights in Miami, Pete Alonso hit his first home run. And this kid can rake. He is seriously phenomenally talented. And it was a line drive to right center. 400 and some odd feet away. And it never got more than 8-9 feet off the ground. I mean, this was an absolute laser beam. The Mets showed their resiliency. They did have a comeback win on that 3-game series. The final game of the series was Wednesday night. Now that one, Jacob deGrom went 7 innings, struck out 14, hit his second career home run. And the Mets sweep the Marlins coming into their home opener on Thursday, April the 4th. So after the first 2 series, the Mets were 5-1. And then the hilarity started. After the game, when Alonso hit his first career home run, I guess they wheeled him into the shower and doused him with eggs and beer and ketchup and mustard and relish, and it was disgusting. But Alonso loved every minute of it. deGrom is nasty lights out. Let's put it this way. Last year, his stuff, unfair. Not even cool. Guy has more quality starts in a row than anybody in history that's not named Bob Gibson. From the year he was so good, they lowered the mound to make pitching less relevant. So here's all deGrom has done is match that dude. That's how good he's been. And then he threw a 95-mile-an-hour slider. Razor's edge slider. I was able to watch this game, and I was flabbergasted. He was phenomenal. And then, of course, the Met bullpen has shown its ugly face. The Achilles heel of what I thought was going to be an 8th and 9th inning lockdown has been the Met bullpen. Gave up a lot of runs in Miami, gave up the lead on Sunday in Washington. Now we get to the home opener, and the Mets are blank 4-0. The night before, when they left Miami and they had the late game, the Mets were drug tested. And apparently, Dominic Smith cannot pee on command. Don't know why. Keith Hernandez on the Gary, Keith, and Ron Instagram page was asked, "Hey, Keith, what time is it?" as they pulled into Citi Field, and Keith responded, 2:45 a.m. They had a 1:10 first pitch on Thursday for the home opener. The home opener went less than the way we wanted to, although Syndergaard was great. 6 good innings, bunch of strikeouts, only allowed 2 runs, and one of them was earned. The Mets lose 4-0 to the Nationals on the home opener. Rough day for a team that was still very tired. So the Mets took advantage of the off day on Friday, came back Saturday, and in one of the biggest seesaw battles that saw a starting pitching performance go really unnoticed, Steven Matz went 5 innings on Saturday. He was not efficient with his pitches. He walked a few guys. He did strike out 8, but he got in and out of trouble as often as he could. Pitched great, handed it over to the bullpen. And that's when the sky fell in. I was actually watching this game at my mother-in-law's house, and the Mets were up going late. And Jerry's Familia, for the first time since Connor Gillespie hit the home run in the National League wildcard game in 2016, gave up a home run at Citi Field. In the regular season, was 49 appearances before that home run. And then 3 batters later, he gave up another one to Wilmer Difo. The Mets went to the 7th inning, down 5-3. Or the 8th inning, I was right the first time. When that Pete Alonso kid comes up and smacks a home run to center field that I didn't think was getting out. It was a slider away, and if you watch the replay, he's actually sliding in. He's reaching. He didn't hit the ball off the barrel. And this thing went to dead central. Citi Field's not a small ballpark. The next batter is Robinson Cano, and he hit one that may land in the Bronx. He got it to the bridge in right center, if anybody's been to Citi Field. Mets tie the game at 5. Michael Conforto gets a base hit. Jeff McNeil is hit by a pitch in a pinch hitting role. Why was he pinch hitting? Because Mr. Home Run J.D. Davis hit 2 off of Patrick Corbin. Keon Broxton, one of the other late offseason acquisitions by Brodie Van Wagenen, looked like he was trying to hit a 3-run homer. Cano comes up to the top step of the dugout and goes, "Hey, you're swinging for the fences. Take him to right field." Shortly thereafter, Keon Broxton hits a line drive to right center field, drives in Michael Conforto. Mets take a 6-5 lead. Edwin Diaz comes out of the bullpen, slams the door. Mets win the middle game of their first home series, and that brings us to today. Here is why I'm excited about this team. The Mets lost 12-9 today. Let's just start there. The Mets were down 12-1 in that game, and they fought back. 3-run homers from Michael Conforto and Pete Alonso. There's that name again. Look out for Pete Alonso. This may be the National League Rookie of the Year if he continues this. Conforto and Alonso each hit 3-run homers. This team never said die. And the Nationals, in a game where Max Scherzer was up 12-1, had to go to their closer to get outs. I don't know if that says more about the resiliency of the New York Mets or if that says more about the absolute hot garbage the back end of the Washington Nationals bullpen is. Take your pick. So the Mets come out of their first week winning 2 in D.C., a sweep in Miami, and 1 at home. We got a 6-4 record after the first 10 games. I'll take it. I'm sorry, 6-3. 6-3. 6-3 in the first 9. Win 2 of the first 3 series of the year. It's a great start for this 2019 Mets team. Changes I would make after the first week. J.D. Davis should play against lefties, McNeil against righties until Todd Frazier comes back. Then you got to figure out what to do with McNeil. I don't think you can take Juan Lagares and Keon Broxton out of the lineup totally. The Met offense has produced. The Met pitching has been suspect. Vargas was okay. Matz was okay. DeGrom was insane. Thor was okay. 2 players are still out on the market that I think the Mets should look into, those guys being Dallas Keuchel and Craig Kimbrell. Look, Familia is not going to be a 5 ERA guy, and Seth Lugo is not going to be a 12 ERA guy. It's just not how they're built. But it's not bad having a future Hall of Famer in Kimbrell possibly and a great lefty in Dallas Keuchel in this rotation. Spend the money now. You get Cespedes back in the middle of the year, and now you're ready to make a run. So at the end of the first week, we'll take 6-3. We'll come at you next Sunday night after another week of Mets baseball. This coming week, as I look at my schedule in my phone here, the Minnesota Twins will be at Citi Field on the 9th and 10th, which is Tuesday and Wednesday. And then the Mets go to Hotlanta for a 4-game series against the defending National League Eastern Division champions. That should be good, but then we get into Philly. That road trip is at Atlanta, at Philly. We get to see Bryce Harper the first time. At St. Louis, where we come home for the Phillies, Milwaukee, and Cincinnati to finish the month of April. April's over? Wow. So week 1's in the books. You want to hear more about baseball and anything else, or hear my 2019 MLB preview, get to the Big Rican on Sports podcast on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public. I'm going to get it up on SoundCloud and, of course, our YouTube channel here at Big Rican on Sports, on Facebook, Big Rican on Sports, at BR on Sports 1 on Twitter. And if you want to get me personally, it's at Mets Jets Bucks 41. We'll see you next Sunday night.